Michael Madsen, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
How you doing today?
Well, I worked pretty late last night, so I got up for you.
Well, thank you. Grab a cup of coffee, man.
Coffee's not going to happen because I'm going back to bed.
All right. So we'll get this out of the way for you then. So Big Time in Hollywood, Florida premieres tonight on Comedy Central. I'm looking through all the, the IMDb's and the Wikipedias and the cast listings and stuff. Are you just Michael Madsen in this one?
Well, I've been saying I'm not primarily thought of as playing comedy roles, so, I was really kind of surprised when they called me. But they didn't make me go through the whole process of coming in and reading and auditioning and all that. So I felt pretty good about them thinking that I could do it, that I could get away with it. They were pretty confident that I could do it, and I think that kind of gave me the ability to be able to do it. I mean, they were funny, and the writing was funny, and it wasn't that hard to get there.
Because to me, and I'm sure with, everybody else who you've been talking with and all your fans out there, you're probably always going to be Mr. Blonde in their mind, or Bud, or one of your other badass roles.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think there's... I'd rather be remembered for something interesting. I don't want to be boring. I never wanted to bore anybody, but, playing some of these characters are pretty... It's a lot more intellectual than you might think. I've tried to make them... more than one level of intelligence, and it's this thing, the Comedy Central thing, it's hysterical. It's a comedy. I think my character is a combination of I don't know. He's part Clint Eastwood and he's part he's not very responsible with his weapons, and he's a detective. But he's a bit of a raggedy, ragged character, a bit of a bungler, and that was a lot of fun to do that.
Now, Ben Stiller said in a recent interview, audiences might react with a, what the hell is this when they see the show for the first time. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree?
I think he pretty much said it. He's a very, very interesting cat. He's a very creative guy, and I'm sure he had a hand in making the decision to put me in this thing, and that's probably part of the reason why I'm in it, is because it is going to be a what the hell is this, and I hope that they give it enough time to catch on, because it's a specific kind of comedy. Comedy today has become very complicated, and people have seen it all, and this is very specific, and if you don't like the two guys, the show's not going to work. And I did. I mean, I think it's really funny, but it might take a season, for people to actually realize how funny it is. And I hope they give it a chance. I really do. I'm not in the first episode. I think I come in at the end of the second, and I'm there for a while.
Excellent. And now I'm looking here, and I know you have to take like an IMDb with a grain of salt, but you've got 19 projects slated for 2015, man.
Well, you have to take it with a big grain of salt. A grain of salt big enough to choke to death on, because, the IMDb is very indiscriminate, and it's really not a fair reflection. And, anybody can call them and say just about anything they want, and it's on there. And I kind of have a big problem with them. They really, they're not very responsive to when you call them and ask them why there's certain things on there that shouldn't be. And a lot of people will change the dates of when they did something to make it seem as if you just did it, or as if you're about to do it, or that you're doing it after what you're doing now, and to make it timely. And it's not fair to do that. And, they don't do their homework, and they don't do their... you would think if the very person they're talking about calls in and says, look, this doesn't belong on there, and that doesn't belong on there, and that's not reflective of the truth, that they would take it off. But they don't. And it's they claim it's a public service, but I can tell you for sure a lot of those titles have been, the dates have been changed. A lot of those things were done and over a while ago, or never got finished, or it's one of those things I'm going to have to clean up. Let's put it that way. But social media and the internet, boy, I'm telling you, they can pretty much do whatever they want, and it's not easy. It's not nice sometimes. It's pretty. They have a tendency to think that they have a license to kill, and it's just not fair sometimes.
Well, I wouldn't want a guy like Michael Madsen mad at me.
Well, I've tried to be a gentleman. I always try to be a gentleman in this lifetime, but they have a certain attitude towards what they do, and it's kind of a hard one to get past. And either that, or you can just ignore it.
Yeah,
it's a nuisance, but I can tell you for the record, it's not accurate.
Is the filming of Hateful Eight, is that accurate?
Well, I'm doing that now. I'm about 10 weeks into that.
And how's that going?
I've got about. Well, I got to say, it's probably one of the best times I've had on a picture in quite a while. It's a great cowboy film, and I got a great role, and I've had the best time. I haven't had a bad day since we started. It was a great cast, and Quentin is really, he's at the peak of his powers. It's amazing how much energy he has and how creative he is, and he put this thing together, and it's not going to be like any Western anybody's ever seen before, I'll tell you that. What's
the bond between you and Tarantino? I mean, you guys work together on quite a lot of his films.
Well, this would be our fourth collaboration. I mean, I think, it's nice to have that. It's great to have that with a director, because you don't always have that, and rarely. And, he understands me. I understand him. We both enjoy the same types of things out of films from the past, and we have similar ideas about the way that scenes should be played. And it's it's great. It's hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's not a ride on a carousel. It's tough. It's a long, tough days, and he's very meticulous. But there's nobody like him, and I'm very, very fortunate to have been with him the times that I've had.
And you've got co-stars in this film, Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson. I just picture you guys sitting around talking about badass stuff all day. I mean,
that's exactly what happens. Yeah, there is. We have had a lot of fireside chats, put it that way. And it's a pretty amazing bunch of guys to sit around and talk with. It's interesting to meet actors that you've seen in other things that you've admired, but you haven't had a chance to work with or sit and talk with. And working's one thing, but then when you sit around and talk and people tell stories and you start to find out about people's lives behind the scenes, it's really, really interesting. All the guys are right at the top of their game, and I love Sam. Sam is a prince, and he really is. He's one of the most generous actors, one of the nicest men, one of the greatest talents I think I've ever been on a screen with. He really, really is. It's such seeing his face in the morning, it's just like, wow. Oh, I mean, all the guys are great. Everybody in this thing is really giving it 110%. Walt Goggins is in it, Jennifer Jason Leigh. All these people are just, James Parks is there. It's a lot great, they're just good actors, and they love what they're doing. And there's no anxiety because everybody knows it's going to be a good picture, so it's a lot easier to get up and go to work every day.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to that when it comes out. But in the meantime, I'll sink my teeth into Big Time in Hollywood, Florida. And again, premieres tonight on Comedy Central. And we'll keep an eye out for you in episode 2.
Yeah, I think I come in at the end of 2, and then I'm there for a while. It's funny stuff, guys. It really is.
Well, Michael Madsen, thank you so much for taking the time and calling in today, my friend.